Hello, this is Becca from Willow Hill Designs. Welcome. Today I'm sharing my finished prompt for K3n Clothtales Prompt, her weekly stitch, and the prompt for this week of April 8th has been Eclipse. And so I have finished my Eclipse page, and here it is. This is what I chose to do. And I'll give you a close-up of that. And I tried to interpret what I saw on that day. I really enjoyed doing this little stitching piece, maybe because I was present and I viewed the eclipse, so it was even more meaningful to me. But I'll just share the fabrics that I used for this. The sky fabric I chose was this one. And this fabric is an ombre fabric that gradates from dark to light in the middle and dark again at the end. And I chose an area like this for the sky. I liked that color, and I liked that impression of a tree or a branch against the blue. So I thought that would be nice for the sky. And then I chose this. This is a batik that I chose for the sun, and I have just a little bit of this left. I've used it a lot for applique, but there's a lot of pieces in this that are kind of washed out almost to the very yellow, and I thought that that would be perfect for the sun to maybe look like kind of the modeling of the sun around the edges. So I chose a piece of this batik for the sun. And then lastly, for the moon, I chose this fabric, which is a very rusty colored fabric. And again, I have very little of this left. But this one I chose, there were some dark areas on here, almost black and very dark gray. So I chose a piece of this for the moon. And I thought that rather than just a plain black piece of fabric, I thought that this would give some interest to the moon. And so this is the section that I chose here out of that fabric. And what all I did was I just tore a piece of the blue, and the yellow I cut, but kind of fringed or frayed the edges, I guess, on that for the sun. And then the moon, they're all raw edge, all three of them. And what I did was I invisibly stitched down the blue and the sun. The moon, I didn't do anything to that because I was going to start there. So when these two were invisibly stitched down, I put the moon on here, and I decided to do a buttonhole stitch around the moon. And I liked the design on this. I thought it just kind of looks like, you know, you might be looking through branches of trees at the moon. And it's not entirely black, but it's kind of a mottled look. And then the buttonhole stitch kind of accentuates that edge, I thought. And then I did a stem stitch or an outline stitch around the moon. And those were both done in black, both of those stitchings. And I didn't want to put the moon in the center to look like a bullseye or a target. So I kind of dropped it down as it's approaching, covering the sun. I thought that this would be a little more realistic in my mind anyway. And so from there, I decided to take some yellow DMC floss, and I used 2 strands here. And all I did was do all of these running stitches out from a vantage point, not quite center, but somewhere around there, and just drew all of these, or stitched all of these lines in a running stitch. And then I decided every other line of running stitch that I would weave that same yellow DMC floss through the running stitches. I didn't do every line of running stitch, but every other line. And again, I felt like that sort of implied the rays of the sunshine that day. It was a It was a bright sunny day here. There were some clouds that came through, but for the most part, it was a very bright sunny day. And so I just wove those threads through. And then the last thing that I decided to do was I took a piece of variegated DMC floss, 2 strands, and I wove that going through the running stitches and under the woven stitches, under the running stitch, under the woven. And I just kind of randomly chose where to weave it. So that variegated thread runs all the way around the sun under the running or the woven stitches. And then lastly, I decided to add this other weaving. And for this one, I just came up, went under a running stitch, under this horizontal thread, and then under the running stitch, under the horizontal, under the rolling. So it gave me little peaks or little triangles coming down under this thread, this first thread, and then going up and under the running stitch, and then under this first thread, and then up and under the running stitch. Going back and forth like that gave me a triangular sort of a little effect around the edge of the sun. And so I decided to leave it there. And it's irregular, as my stitching is irregular, that the stitches don't all fall in the same place. Some are a little bit longer, some are a little shorter. But I thought it kind of gave that sort of hazy, kind of wavy look that I saw that day. Not that we could look up there, but through our little glasses. So that is my Eclipse little page, and I stitched it down. I just lift the stitching on the previous page up, and then I do my running stitch on that next page. So this stitching here is the back of this, is where this was stitched on, and then this one where it's stitched on is hidden under the moon page. So that's all stitched on now. It's a little bit messy on the back, but there's a lot of stitching that went into this piece, so more chance for messiness back there. But anyway, so on here I just wrote Solar Eclipse 4/8/24, and I wrote, "It was wonderful to witness this very special celestial event." And then I just put my initials down here in the date, and I just put the month and the year. I don't put the day that I did this little stitching. So here is my eclipse, and I really enjoyed it. I'm enjoying K3n's prompts and this weekly stitch along. It's not something that's too much to take care of or to handle. It's just enough to enjoy, to give you that little fix of hand stitching. And again, this was such a special event to think of the moon passing between the sun and the earth, and the moon, knowing that the moon is so much smaller than the earth, and this, I think the sun is about 12 times larger than the moon, if I'm not mistaken. So who can even, I can't comprehend it completely, but how the moon can block the sun was quite amazing to me. And I did feel the temperature drop. You could definitely feel it get chilly. I went out with no jacket on, and I have to say, when I came in, I was very chilly. There was a temperature drop. I don't know exactly how many degrees, but it was just such a nice happenstance or wonderful event, and really makes you realize the power of God, the magnitude of what He created, and the vastness of space and what's out there. And we're just a tiny tiny little portion, and I just felt privileged. I think the next one is 2044, so this was really a nice privilege to be able to witness this. So thank you very much for joining me today on this little journey, and I'm wishing you many blessings, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Here are some pictures that my daughter took of the eclipse I thought I'd share.